For many of us who live in the UK and other parts of the so-called developed world, we've become used to being consumers. We shop, we buy, we spend, we go places and expect to be served, and we want good service. And whilst there may be some good things about this, one of the difficulties is that it makes us think that things are all about us, that we're the ones who should be served, that we're the ones who need to have our needs met in the way that we want. And that goes against so much of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. There's an interesting account in Mark's Gospel, in Mark chapter 10, where Jesus has to take to one side two of his followers, James and John. James and John have come to him and said, we want to be top dogs in this group of your followers. And Jesus says to them, actually, the one who wants to be first has to be the servant. And later on in that section, he comes to them and says, the Son of Man, Jesus, didn't come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus is trying to explain to them that it's about being servant-hearted. In my visits to the work of Hands at Work in Africa, I've always been impressed about how they look for people in the vulnerable communities that they serve who've already got this servant-hearted approach to life. They already have the love of God in their hearts and are caring for orphan and vulnerable children with big hearts, with a care that is just not purely human. They have that servant-hearted love of God within them. It's worth us thinking about in our terms for the work of the church in the UK and whichever part of the world we come from. What are our churches and the projects that our churches do to be like? All too often we expect to go to church and find what we want, whether that's worship songs that we like, the kind of sermons or talks that we find interesting, even the coffee that we like. It's not about that. It's about being servant-hearted. Maybe we need to take a lesson from some of the vulnerable communities that Hands at Work in Africa support and the volunteer care workers who do that work. Maybe we need to remind that it's not about us. We need to be more servant-hearted. And it's no good me saying to other people in the church that I'm a member of, you ought to be more servant-hearted. It's down to me, isn't it? I need to be the change in the church that I'm looking for. I need to be the one who's setting out what a servant-hearted approach looks like. So may we be given grace from God's Holy Spirit to be servant-hearted like Jesus and serve those in our communities with the love that God puts in us.